Welcome back to the Hawkeye Garage. I am Joe. Today we start in the garage, even though the Jeep is outside because it is extremely windy out. The rear axle is finished being installed in the Jeep. I've been driving it around, and so I figured for this video we would just we'd throw the GoPro up in the corner of the windshield and take a little drive, talk about how it's been working, and a couple interesting things that I found out that I touched on in the last video, that if you are interested in doing this axle swap to your Grand Cherokee, you'll probably be interested in knowing. So stay tuned.
All right, well, I really was not kidding about the wind. It is blowing me all over the place. Hopefully I've got a stretch of road here that the light should be okay, and hopefully it won't blow us around too much, and hopefully you guys won't be able to hear it in the background. But let's talk about this rear axle. Inline straight six does sound good. It doesn't sound like a V8, that's for sure, but it does sound pretty good. So the 373 gears. Had I not known that I had switched gear ratios, I probably wouldn't realize it. Now that could be the fact that I hadn't driven this in like 3 weeks, and I've been driving the Explorer, and it of course has a V8, which by no means is that thing fast. Is it pretty quick for a heavy SUV? Yes. Is it quick compared to this? Definitely yes. So it's not like I jumped in it from one day to the next from 355 to 373s. So, but the more that I'm driving it and paying attention to it, pulling away from stoplights and getting on it, yeah, I can tell. So there's that. The upcountry springs, the Grand Cherokee Special Edition 1-inch lift springs. Of course, I didn't measure because I never remember to measure, but to the eye it looks about the same as the springs before, so maybe my old springs weren't that bad, and I would say these probably lifted a little bit, but definitely not a majorly noticeable amount. They definitely ride better. That is for sure. So between the springs, the new triangulated upper A-arm that the bushings were kind of on their way out, and that spacer to maybe fix some of the geometry of the suspension, I would definitely say that it's riding better, and it feels better. The truck definitely doesn't drive any better, and that's because of the bad caster, because of my front lift and the stock control arms, which hopefully will remedy that. Anyway, so there's that. There is the ride is definitely better, and I tightened up the bolts on my sway bars and kind of switched some washers around on the end links for the bushings to tighten everything up. I think that helped, and I want to say that I think I had a wheel bearing going bad, because I would get a clunk every once in a while, but it didn't seem like it was a suspension joint or anything like that, and all my bolts were tight. I suppose it could have been those bushings on that upper A-arm going bad, but I don't know, it didn't seem like it. And that clunk is gone. The sway is better, and yeah, I'm happy. The track lock, the limited slip, I can't even remember the technical term that Chrysler uses for it. Seems to be okay. I haven't been able to get any grass or gravel to test it. When I'm doing really tight circles, I can hear some noise from the back, like some chatter almost. So part of that could be the fact that it sat for so long dry, and when I say dry, I drained the oil out of the pumpkin and then sealed it all back up and didn't refill it. So it's not like I cleaned it all with parts cleaner and it was literally dry. So maybe those clutches need some time to re-acclimate. And I do need to check the fluid level. I know I'm not low. If anything, I might be a little high, but I wanted to make sure that it was completely spread out. So I need to recheck that. Maybe add a little bit more friction modifier. You really can't add too much of that stuff. At least it's been my experience with the Ford limited slip. So we'll check that and we'll keep driving it, but it's been driving fine. It's been tracking really well. So yeah, I'm really happy with the swap so far. I wish I would have gotten around to it before winter so I could try the lower gear ratios and the limited slip in the snow, but the way that the weather's been in Iowa, who knows, I might yet get to try it in the snow. Anyway, I apologize that this video is coming out on Wednesday. I took the weekend off. Last week, Mrs. HSW had a birthday, so we celebrated that, and Sunday was Easter, so we celebrated that as well. So I'm not sorry that I took Sunday off. Anyway, we'll get this video out. You'll see it hopefully Wednesday. It'll go out, and then we'll resume normal schedule back on Sunday. At highway speeds, when my speedometer is reading 60 miles an hour, based on my GPS on my phone, I'm traveling 65 miles an hour. So apparently at highway speeds, I'm pretty much exactly 5 miles an hour off. I haven't tested it at slower speeds, in-town speeds, because to me, that doesn't really matter. Last time we talked about the drive shaft. I was concerned about the drive shaft length and the hardware up to the yoke. Did some research. Turns out that the drive shaft that would have come on this vehicle stock with the Dana 44 would have been the same U-joint, same slip yoke, everything, but the drive shaft would have been shorter, which, duh, now that I think about it, because that diff is way bigger, therefore it's closer to the transfer case, therefore shorter drive shaft. But since I'm on about 2 to 3 inches of lift, the stock drive shaft in this turned out to be the perfect length. I had to pull it out of the yoke just a hair, which is what you want, because you want to be able to compress that suspension and the slip yoke to go back into the transfer case, and you want it to be able to slide out when you extend the suspension. And from my eyeball measurements, kind of moving the drive shaft around, it's perfect. So if you're doing this swap, you should be good to go. Or even if you have a Dana 44 already and you're lifting your vehicle and you think you might need a longer drive shaft, might be worth a trip to the junkyard for a $20 drive shaft to test for length, and then you can rebuild the U-joints in it. So that's pretty cool. I did some more research and found out that the bolts for the yoke to hold the U-joint on, the caps on and everything, it's all the same hardware. So I don't really know. Apparently the holes in that yoke just needed to be chased, because I did buy a tap for like $5, little bit of cutting fluid, chased those threads. Nothing major came out except for some dirt. And I bought some new hardened Allen head bolts to go in there, just because it's a metric 824, or is it 828? It's 8mm fine thread. So that's what that is. And yeah, bolted all together. Been driving it since last week, since I finished it, and it's been fantastic. I'm super happy with it, and I cannot wait to get the front done as well. Well, I hope you guys found that informational. I've got the front axle here. I've made room in the garage, so now that I can get to that front axle, I can finish getting it prepped so that we can pull the Jeep back in and start tearing into that and get that swapped over. I'm really hoping that with those adjustable control arms, it will drive a lot better. Other than that, yeah, I'm just waiting for the weather to warm up. I've got a lot of stuff planned for this thing. A lot of it you guys already know, but things are starting to happen. Parts are starting to arrive, to be ordered, to be found, and plans are being made on exactly what is going to happen. Doing some more build stuff on this, so I'm really excited to get started on that. If you guys haven't already, follow the links down below over to my Instagram and my Facebook. Follow me there, and if you haven't already liked the channel, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, be sure to do that, because we post a video every Sunday, except for last Sunday because it was Easter, like I said. But
Other than that, you can always email me, hawkeyeskunkworks@gmail.com, or leave comments down below. I answer all the emails and I reply to all the comments. So until next time, thank you for watching. Take care. Goodbye.